we're gonna get started just for the sake of respecting everyone's time. This will be fairly swift and efficient. And we want to reserve some time after each project is introduced. So speaking of introductions, my name is Constance White. Currently, I manage the Art in Public Places program for the city of Austin. I have been in Austin for about a year, close to a year and a half, managing this program. And I've been in other places. Some of you know me, but I've been a career public art professional for nearly 3 decades, and I'm happy to be here. So I will pass the mic to my colleagues. As I see you on the screen, please take 30 seconds to introduce yourselves. Alex, you're prominent on the screen, so I'll call on you, and we can go to Reggie after you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alex Rera. I am a project manager, project coordinator with the Art in Public Places program. Been with the program for years, and I am based at the airport as of recently. I will pass it to Reggie.
Hey guys, nice to meeting you. Federico here. I've been with AIPP for a little bit over 8 months and with the city for over 7 years doing arts administration and arts education. And I am helping to move along our MAC Phase 2 Mexican America Cultural Center call. And I'll pass it to Brianna. Thank you.
Thanks, Reggie. Hi, everyone. My name is Brianna Iglesias. I am an art coordinator, project coordinator with Austin Arts and Public Places, and I have been here for about 3 months, so still fresh. I will pass it over to Lindsay.
Thank you, Brianna. I'm Lindsay Hutchins. I'm also a coordinator with the Art in Public Places program. I am the point of contact for the Family Violence Shelter and Protection Center project. Been here for about 2.5 months, and I'm excited to answer any questions today.
Awesome. So substantially, that is our team. There's 2 of us who are missing in action right now, but that's okay. We're gonna keep the party rolling. We have 3 projects that we'll be introducing to you. And like I said, we'll be taking questions after each project. And Lindsay is running the show. So we will go ahead and get started and look forward to presenting to you and taking your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Constance. Again, my name's Lindsay, so I'll be sharing a brief introduction to the open call for the Family Violence Shelter and Protection Center. I'll go ahead and share my screen so we can all be looking at this RFQ at the same time together. There we go. Let's see. I think that Zoom should be okay. All right, so I'll just scroll through this and briefly touch on some high-level points. Excuse me. Deadline is going to be December 19th at 5 p.m. All of these calls are available on publicartist.org, so there's that information there. And so the overarching point of this open call is to seek a commission from a professional visual artist or artist-led team to design and fabricate an exterior installation as a place for reflection, peace, and restoration, integrated within the secured outdoor area of the site. So we are not currently sharing the location of this facility, but it is being converted from a Super 8 motel. And so there are going to be renovations that sort of, well, as it says, consist of repairs and retrofits, but also, you know, making that transition to a space of healing into a shelter for women and children experiencing family violence. It's worth noting in terms of the stakes associated with a project like this. I'm just going to read this part verbatim. According to statistics provided by the SAFE Alliance, which is based here in Austin, there were 2,105 confirmed cases of child abuse in Travis County from 2015 to 2016. These statistics are a bit out of date, but Other resources are available with the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, stating that on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. So this is clearly still a very important, time-sensitive, relevant need. Overview of the project here. I'm going to skip over some of this text, but also pause here for a moment to repeat that this artwork will be installed outdoors. It does need to be able to be survivable, maintainable to the outdoors. It will be within a secure perimeter, so not completely open to the general public, but available to everybody who will be at the shelter and protection center. Let's see, I'll read a bit of this verbatim as well. It's recommended that trauma-informed design be considered for this project. Assessment should include feelings of emotional safety, hope, comfort. Functional elements may include walkable and ADA compliant pathways, spaces to sit and lie down, access to shade or sky. The final installation must be accessible and inviting to diverse users, presenting multiple perspectives with unobscured views of nature, varied lighting, visual simplicity, safety, security, and privacy. And those are some of the items or things to consider in terms of trauma-informed design. The overall budget for this project is $70,000. That includes the artist's design fees, engineering, permitting, fabrication, transportation, installation, travel, shipping expenses, insurance, and any other artwork related costs. Eligibility is going to, this project in particular is just for Austin area artists. That does include neighboring counties. So we've got listed in this area here. It includes Travis County, Hayes, Williamson, Bastrop, Caldwell, Burnett, and Blanco counties. Also listing on here, 3-dimensional artwork, sculptural artwork, permanent artwork, something that's suitable for the exterior environment. Only
Hey,
one.
Lindsay, can I jump in just for a second?
Yes,
We're looking
please.
for artists who have experience creating 3-dimensional work. So I just wanted to mention that that is one of the requirements.
Thank you, Constance. And that actually brings up a big sort of like sweeping notice about this call and others that we're going to be sharing about today. That
he's gonna come here in it soon.
Oh, it looks like a couple people are unmuted right now.
Alex, can you mute? Oh, thank you.
And these calls are for qualifications. The city is not looking for proposals for any of these open calls. We want to hear about work that has been made before. And so that relates to what Constance just mentioned, that artists would have experience creating 3-dimensional permanent artwork. Ineligibility, design professionals, including architects who do not have a consistent visual art practice, are ineligible to be the lead. They may, however, participate on an artist-led team. Also, we're trying to really make sure that art in public places is open to many people. So if artists already have 3 permanent artworks in the art in public places collection, they're ineligible. If an artist has a current contract or project in process with the city, they are ineligible. And if any artist has had a contract or commission within the last year with the city, they're ineligible for this particular call. Also, City of Austin full-time employees are ineligible. In terms of the selection process, we convene a panel of about 5 members of voting arts professionals. For any artists or artist-led teams that are shortlisted, there is an interview process which is paid if any folks move past the initial round. Getting into submission requirements, again, to just highlight that these are about existing qualifications, not looking for proposals or plans. CV or resume, limit of 2 pages on that of your work history as a professional artist. Short responses to these questions. So everybody who's applying is going to be responding to the same questions. 10 images of previous work. we were just talking about this recently. If there's a particular artwork you want to represent that is best illustrated through 2 images, that's okay, but we'd really like to see a diversity of samples from these 10 images of previous work. 3 professional references, and then there is a demographic survey that
Let
is
me
a
go
part.
back up to images, Lindsay. Sorry to interrupt you. I just want to I can't emphasize this enough with artists that sometimes we're eager to show several images on a single page, and this is an accessibility issue. So if you should be so kind as to limit 1 page per image, tiled images, and multiple images on 1 page will subject you to being disqualified. So we are asking for a limit of 10 images and for you to be mindful of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Constance. Yeah, just as much as we want these open calls to be accessible to different artists, we want to be considerate of the selection panelists as well. We want them to be able to see the artworks that are submitted in this images of previous work, whether they want to use their computer or their phone or whatever device they choose and have access to. In terms of evaluation criteria, the selection panel that I just mentioned, they evaluate applications based on the following criteria: technical quality and aesthetic appeal of past work, dedicated and consistent artist practice, authenticity, creativity, and innovation of work as it's presented, communication of ideas and intentions, and experience with public art projects of a similar size and scope. So you can consider the budget as a big part of that similar size and scope. We are in the virtual meeting right now. As I mentioned, the deadline's December 19. There's links on our website to access the application site, which is publicartist.org. And if you have any follow-up questions at all, my email address is right up on here. So feel free to email me at any time. I'm happy to answer follow-up questions, both at the end of our time today, but via email as well.
Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate that overview. And I think this is a good time for questions for this specific project, if anyone has any questions.
Hi, I have a question.
Hi, Alicia.
Hi. So I'll start with my first question. So I know that you're asking for images, and I also know that the artwork that you're interested in for this is something that's about a larger space and about inviting people into that space. And so I'm wondering if it's possible to submit a video that shows an artwork that isn't just like one thing, that it's actually outdoors in a space, moving through the space.
Yes.
Okay.
So your video, please limit it to 3 minutes.
Okay.
Can count to up to 3 images. We didn't mention that. So yes, you can submit video.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And then one other question I have is about, so I know it's outdoors and clearly about making some art, but it seems like from the description, you want the artist to be able to consider how to integrate that art into the space and make the space part of the work. Yeah, I know, because it's talking about like ADA compliant.
And I wrote that complicated description.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm interested in all of that, but I don't actually have art that would illustrate, and
it's okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. These types of opportunities don't come along very often, so we don't expect for you to have a contextualized or formalized space that like slots into this perfect example.
Okay.
We're really looking at those technical criterion that that Lindsay just shared, like your creative and artistic merit, your capacity to create work that's permanent, that's outdoors. We expect things to last at least 20 years. So permanent, durable materials that can be maintained, that the sun and the elements and children won't destroy, that meet our basic safety requirements, that's accessible to all people who choose to participate in the space as it is presented and will be living in a space that's a shared space for
Okay.
folks. Yeah.
Great. One last question, and hopefully
Okay.
this is questions these are questions other people would want to know too. So if I would be working on my own as the person developing the idea and all the follow through, but I know that the person that I like to work with and work best with as far as additional metal fabrication support, like welding, is someone who currently has an AIPP commission that she is involved in. Do I need to plan to not work with her? I mean, she wouldn't be someone that's like yeah, she'd be like contract as far as I'm concerned, like someone I'd hire separately if needed.
You are at liberty to choose the sub-consultants and subcontractors of your choice.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, I have a question. I don't know if there's like a queue. Sorry.
No, I see you. I see your square lighting up.
So, my work is not exactly architecture and not exactly art. How do you, would that eliminate me? I know it said you can't really be like an architecture practice and an art practice, but I guess
So
we
it
don't.
didn't say you can't be and. It says if you are a design professional that's working as an architect and not an exhibiting artist, right? And so if you don't have an artistic practice, I have friends who are architects that are represented by galleries and studios in different places. So they actually have an artistic practice, but they also have a design practice as an architect. So if you are a design professional that is creating work for, on large scale architectural projects and you're part of a firm and you don't have an exhibitions practice or an artistic studio practice, then you don't meet the definition that we have as artists. But if you're creating work that is exhibited, then and you're working as an artist, you have as demonstrated by your CV or your resume, your portfolio, then there's no conflict there. There's not an issue.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. Felipe.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
So I was reading through the proposal and I was wondering how big is the area that we would be building inside of, and what are the parameters of the sculpture?
So it's an outdoor space.
Okay.
And I would say it's on the other side of the parking lot. It's an existing space. And there are no set parameters yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's even hard to define it as a yard. It is kind of a yard area. I would say it may go 20 feet deep across maybe 40 or 50 feet wide. So it's like an intimate lawn area that's, if you were at a Motel 8, if anybody can imagine that, it's just the green space between on the other side of the park, there's the green space, the parking lot, and then there's kind of the drop-off portico area. There used to be a swimming pool area that they're converting to a play area. And so it already feels intimate. It's not a huge outdoor space, but I think that what we want the artists who are interested in this opportunity is to focus on its purpose and the materiality and how you're submitting your qualifications, because we're not looking for proposals. You'll have to work with the client group to conceptualize how the experience will live in the space, informed by the user experience. And so creating a proposal would be preliminary at this point and would subject you to being disqualified.
Got you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So don't try to solve the problem right now. Just tell us how much you're interested and how great you are. Anyone else? Amrita. I think there you go.
Yeah, hi. So I have a question and also a request to the fellow members who have joined in. So I'm a poet and I write and present poetry, but I don't have an exact experience in creating 3D structures. However, I do think that contribute to a team of artists who would be uh, well, mm, how do I say, well qualified to create 3D structures, but not, it won't be me who will be doing that. So do I apply on my own? Do I try to find other people who are much more qualified in doing so, or am I just not going to be eligible in any way for
You
this
would,
project?
you would have to find a collaborator that helps to meet the qualifications that we're looking for.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Going once, going twice. Thank you all for those really awesome questions. We're going to bounce over to our next project that will be introduced by my colleague, Fredgie. And also to let you know, the session is being recorded. So if there's any question that was asked, you don't remember the answer, this will be archived on a link on our website so that you can access and review again later. And you can always contact us directly to ask us any questions. And we also have virtual open office hours every other Tuesday at 10 a.m. And we're happy to share links with you for that as well. So over to you, Reggie. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for your time today. And yeah, folks calling me Freddy because that's the Brazilian Fred, and I'm a Brazilian American. So if you meet me in person or virtually, you feel free to call me either Federico or Freddy. I am very excited to be the point of contact for this opportunity at the Mexican American Cultural Center, the MIS Barrientos Mexican American Cultural Center. That is located downtown around the Rainy Street district on 600 Rainy Street. The center is currently closed for construction, and it is scheduled to reopen to the public sometime in the fall of 2025. This is an opportunity for state artists and local artists and Texas artists and artist teams. And this call, just like the previous call, closes on December 19th at 5 p.m. You guys are going to see that there are many things, that there are parallels between the call that Lindsay just presented and this call. So sometimes I may be a little bit redundant, but that's just for clarity of everybody, okay? This once again for Texas and local artists as well, Austin-based artists, and qualifications should approach opportunity with an open mind and should not attempt to propose new conceptual designs at this phase. So once again, just like the previous call, we are not asking you guys to solve a problem. We're not asking you guys to spend too much time on a specific proposal, and that would mean you could be disqualified for doing so. So once again, as Constance put it, show us how much you want this opportunity, how wonderful you are, give us 10 images of your work, and no need to solve any problems. Let me talk a little bit about the background. So Lindsay, feel free to scroll. Thank you so much. Personally, I worked at the MAC for 7 years, so I'm very well versed into that community. I happen to know some things about it. So if you guys have any questions later on in this process, about the center, I'll be happy to get into it. The architect Teodoro González de León is the main architect for this iconic facility. So if you guys want to do some research into Teodoro González de León and to understand a little bit of the architectural vernacular of the cultural center, you are definitely welcome to do so. The center was born in the hearts and minds and hard works of Latino activists in the 1970s, and they came to a physical fruition in 2007. So 2007 till now is when the public has experienced the center and so forth. Please scroll a little bit, Lindsay. Thank you so much. Awesome. Appreciate that. That's exactly where I wanted to go. So this is the phase 2 of this project, meaning that the center already exists, as I was saying, has already served the public all these years, and now the current construction is for the expansion and the improvement of the facility. And also to develop this relationship of the site to the area around the MAC. So, you know, as an artist, helping to imagine a little bit the experience of the public, the relationship of the center may be to the lake or even to Rainy Street. So in this phase of looking at the center, the community has been looking at what's going on around Austin and how does the community, the cultural center speaks to what is around us. Please scroll down a little bit further. Thank you so much. And let's see what I want to highlight here. Very important, the artwork or series of artwork, because for this opportunity, once, you know, for those that get fast-tracked and get selected, once you are working on this opportunity, you may be able to develop not just one sculpture work, but several sculptural works, depending on your vision. This opportunity is as the previous opportunity for 3D sculptural work, so it is in the same gamut. And the budget for this particular opportunity is for $190,000. So once again, 3D sculptural work in the outside campus, and as far as parameters, that would be something very much like in the previous question, something that the artist would decide with the architects and the project team collaboratively to cite that piece in the campus of the Mexican American Cultural Center. So there's not a specific point already for this sculptural work. So $190,000 inclusive of your design fees, engineering, permitting, machining, fabrication, transportation, installation, travel, shipping expenses, insurance, and other artwork project related costs. So once again, all inclusive. And very much like the previous call, the minimum qualifications, you know, we are asking for artists that are have previous experience creating work in 3D, sculpture, stone, large scale ceramic, etc., etc. And artists must have lived experience with or relating to Mexican American culture and heritage in Central Texas, because for this specific opportunity, this cultural center serves the Mexican American and Latin American population of our city, and there is a heritage of 50 years of work of the community to make the center a reality. So if you in your practice has already interacted with these communities, you'll be well positioned. AIPP defines artists as an individual recognized by critics and peers as a professional practitioner of serious intent and substantial ability in the visual, performing, or literary arts. Please scroll back a little bit. Thank you. Very much like the previous project, the ineligibility aspects, design professionals, including architects who do not have a consistent think that's the key word there. Visual art practice are ineligible to apply. And artists that have more than 3 permanent works already in the collection or who are currently under contract for a project also cannot apply, and full-time City of Austin employees. So once again, being a little redundant, but we have similar ineligibility clauses. We submission requirements. I guess I can, well, we'll have a selection, a panel of art professionals. We'll have 5 different voting panelists that will be looking at all of y'all's wonderful work. Only one artist of artist-led team will be awarded at this commission. Maybe there will be a process in which a few teams get advanced to be finalists, and in that case, only in that case, we would ask you guys to really create a proposal to solve a problem, and for doing that, you would be paid a fee of $1,000. So only in that case that you are one of the finalists. Submission requirements, a little bit redundant, but here we go. We have your resume. Please limit it to 2 pages. There are universal short responses that all of you guys will have the same questions. And then 10 images, once again, 1 image per page. Do not send a gallery of images, because then in 1 page that will disqualify you. And video, you can submit video as well. I believe Constance already mentioned there is a 3-minute maximum, I believe, for any videos. So 10 images, thank you so very much. And then 3 professional references. And as part of this process, the city does have a demographic survey. And evaluation criteria. Yes, you will be judged in your technical quality and aesthetic, your appeal of your past work, relevant and applicable experience, authenticity, creativity, and innovation of work as presented, and finally, communication of ideas and intentions. Deadline is December 19th, guys, at 5 p.m. If you have any questions, I'm here. I am happy to answer your emails and so forth, so forth. And we open the floor for any questions about the Mexican American Cultural Center call.
I had a question. When you're saying like we'll get disqualified if we, I guess, like put in like a proposal. So like even in our application, if we're just talking about the type of art that we like, would that disqualify us? Because like,
No, you can verbally, I think well, the questions are going to be pivotal because the questions evolve from a community process. And so you want to pay particular attention to how you answer the questions. We're not asking for a letter of interest or a letter of intent. We're just asking for responses to these questions. So in this one was, how does site specificity inform your artistic practice, and what inspires how you approach your work? Again, like, we're not looking for any perceived concept of a proposal. That's just not part of our process that we're looking for. How you explain things and how you depict things are different. If you are showing proposals, that doesn't demonstrate the quality of your past work or past experience. So we don't have anything, that can't be a judging criterion, because it isn't your past work, it's a proposed future work, if that makes any sense for that.
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you for your question. Shane, we see you with your hands up. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Do you have any, out of curiosity, data or statistics on quantity of applicants for a similar size and scope RFQ? Over.
Specific to the city of Austin or the country?
within this your program.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Mexican or Mexicarte, depending on who you are, what dialect you refer to, had a similar call, similar scale. I think the budget was about $200,000, and we had over 60 responses. That was within the last year.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you,
Anyone
Constance.
else? Of course.
Hello, Olivia.
Everybody, thank you so much for this information. I'm excited to share it with the MAC community and make sure artists who are interested can apply. I just wanted to ask, we know a lot of muralists, and so I just wanted to clarify, is this project open to somebody who only has experience in mural making, or do they have to have large scale sculpture experience too?
I don't know that we requested or are requiring large scale sculptural work, although we are requesting large scale sculptural work. Again, the character and the scope of the project really came from community and also from the MAC, I believe, the board. And so you're correct, Olivia, we do have a lot of muralists in town, but this project is not a mural opportunity. We're not constructing walls to create murals for. We would like to maximize the budget to the largesse of the budget to go towards creating some sculptural work.
And that being said, may I just add that emphasize that artists can work as teams and a team with several different abilities. So may just do the trick. So if you seen AIPP opportunities for those who are muralists, if you are interested in public art and in translating your work into 3D opportunities, I think in the future that would be just good in general. So think about working in teams for this opportunity, and as you're talking to the community, Olivia, as well. Thank you.
Very good point. Any other questions regarding the Mexican American Cultural Center Phase 2 project opportunity?
Yes, I have one more question. This is about the locale of the artist. In the case of an artist team, do you have a percentage that have to be within Texas? And the additional kind of question about the parameter would be what defines is it tied to an address? I know you had mentioned those counties, but what is like the checks and balances thereof? Over.
I think the checks and balances are we facilitate a process. Me and my team, we facilitate a process. There are stakeholders that are advisors, members from the community, members that represent the cultural center, and also arts professionals that are the voting panelists. And I think the intent is to work with an artist that has a sincere connection to the parameters that have been expressed. And so I don't think we're going to do any forensic investigation on your address and where you are. But we trust the integrity of the artists who are applying for the project. So there's that. What percentage of the team, I can't determine what the percentage of the team should or should not be, but the artist who will be signing the contract needs to fit the requirements that we're asking for.
Okay, yeah, the person I had in mind is actually undocumented. That's kind of why, but from Mexico, and has been living in Central Texas. So that was kind of I didn't know if there would be some kind of investigatory process. Thank you for the clarification.
Absolutely, thank you. Is it
And
Philippe or Felipe?
Yeah. So I just finished the artist career training program with the city. And for example, I mean, a few members from AIPP came, some members of the grant committee came, and they spoke on the fact that we could reach out to them and discuss previous grant applications to review answers to specific questions that we had answered in the past towards the grant application. I was wondering, I've put in a few applications for sculptural projects with the city in the past. Is there anyone that I can talk to about previous applications, about how I went about answering similar questions as are included in this application too?
Yeah, so I'd like to offer a couple of responses to that. One, it gets a little confusing, but this is not a grant opportunity. So $190,000 is not an unrestricted award to create artwork. About 20% of the project goes to an artist fee. The remainder of the project goes into purchase of materials, fabrication, installation, engineering costs, sometimes site prep, and like transportation and all of that. And so there are milestones that are developed that hold us all accountable for how we're spending the city money as it relates to this project. Public art projects are like small construction projects, so we don't consider them to be grants. So there's that. But yes, certainly if you've gone through, if you have applied for public art projects or AIPP projects in the past, and you're curious about what the selection panel's responses were or have been, then we're happy to, all of us are new also. So all of us here have been here, like I'm the tenured person on this call and I've been here for 16 months. So some of that data, some of that information supersedes our tenure, but we will do the best that we can to provide comments and feedback to you, not only from the past, but also going forward. We're working on a systems process improvement to be able to have clearer and more responsive communications to the artist at all phases of the selection process. So yes, email us and let us know. And also when you're putting together your qualifications, if you want some preliminary review, then popping into the virtual open office hours on Tuesdays is a good time to do that.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
No, thank you, Felipe. And I know also there's been questions as we were doing things with a system, and now we have some calls on publicartist.org. So I know that you, Felipe, applied as well. So thank you for the question, and feel free to connect with me as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
So we have about 15 minutes left, I think. So we'll take maybe one more question for the Mexican American Cultural Center, and then we can power through the Palmer Event Center. Any other questions for Federico, myself, or Lindsay? Going once, going twice. Okay, we'll head on over to the Palmer. And that one, I will have the pleasure of introducing to you. I am the proxy for my teammate, Ryan Runcie, who will be overseeing or managing this project. So I will do my best to provide you with a succinct overview. As my colleagues before me have mentioned, we are all on the same timeline so that we reduce any confusion on when things are due. So December 19th at 5 p.m. If you email us at 5:01 because you weren't able to get your application through, you may not receive any sympathy from me. So start your applications early. Don't wait until the last minute. Don't depend on technology. It's digital, so your dog can't eat your homework. We're depending on you to be as professional as you expect us to be. And for a $400,000 commission, I think that's very important on both sides. So if you have any questions about that, just get your process started. and put yourself on a schedule so that December 16th, 17th, 18th, you plan to be done and you can go party or have tea and relax, and the stress will be off your plate. So there's a lot of information here that's repeated or has been repeated by my colleagues. So once I get to the end, I may just defer to you and ask you if you have any questions. The Palmer Event Center has been around for a long time, and it is the backup center for the convention center, but it's also a place where a lot of local events are staged that happen. Weddings happen there, small conventions, mid-sized conventions happens there. And increasingly, they are inviting members of the tech community to host events there. And so they are wanting to invite artists to think about, Austin Energy's Green Choice program and advancing on the moniker of Silicon Hills for Austin. And what does that mean for us? The space is awkward. It's kind of weird. It's a long, narrow space with a high ceiling, and there's a walkway in front of the space, and there are administrative offices that are on the opposing side of the wall. And so visually, it's very accessible by the public. It's one of the most prominent features that you see when you enter the facility. And for those of you who are local, who are curious about the space, because it's such an oblique angle to try to capture photos, it's a public facility. You're welcome to go into the lobby space, go visit, take a look, walk around. People may ask you, what do you want? Just tell them you're an artist scoping the space. For those of you who are not in Austin, because this is a national call, I'm happy to send photos that I have, but they're just not great photos of the space. As I said, this is an existing space, and looking for artists to not create work that extends too far into the walk space. But, it needs to be tactical or tactile because, folks will be walking past it. It can have light, it could be low relief, bas relief, cast glass, etched glass. There is power. There's like a low light line that kind of traces the footpath of this area. And I've gone all off script because I kind of wrote this. And so I'm just kind of speaking from the heart here. But definitely something that's visually interesting that perhaps has a narrative aspect to it. Because the wall is expansive, you may consider not necessarily covering the entire expanse of the wall, but perhaps creating things in panels as well. And so you're impacting the visitor experience and also the user experience of the folks who work in the space. Let's keep going. So the approximate budget is $400,000. As my colleagues mentioned before me, this amount is all inclusive. It's basically a guaranteed maximum price. All of your fees, including your contingency, will have to come from this $400,000. Because the building is already built, your timeline, if you are the selected artist, is the timeline that it takes for you to, do some site investigation and come up with your concept, your community engagement, and your fabrication installation plan. So you will be the driver of the extent of this contract and the project. Again, as my colleagues mentioned earlier, our job with the City of Austin is to ensure that we commission artists with artwork that contributes to the current dialogue in the field of visual art, and thinking about, a broad spectrum of artist capacities and media. And as I said, this is a national call. I've already talked about what some of the possible media or materials could be and who's invited to apply for this opportunity. And all of our calls require artists to be 18 years of age or older. We can keep scrolling, Lindsay. Basically, the ineligibility is consistent across the board. So we've already addressed answers to those categories. Again, a 5-member selection panel comprised of arts and design professionals, some community members as well. The voting panelists may choose to select an artist and an alternate during the initial review, or they may choose to shortlist and advance artists to a proposal and interview phase. If you are one of those artists who is selected and invited to interview and to present a proposal, you will be, you'll have a $1,500 stipend to compensate you for your proposal fee. Submission requirements are really the same across the board. What substantially changes are the short questions, the questions that we ask for short responses to. Again, 10 images. If you have video that you'd like to share, please do, and have consideration that that video, if it's like 3 minutes, 3 images, so just an additional 7 images in addition to your video, or more than 1 video if need be. Short references. Again, we're not asking for proposals. Submitting proposals doesn't allow us to see your qualifications of and demonstration of the quality of your past work. And so please do not submit any proposals for this opportunity. We're looking for qualifications. As Reggie mentioned, the city does require a short demographic survey. Our evaluation criteria, always looking at quality and aesthetic of past work, experience with public art projects of a similar scale, size, scope, creativity and innovation in the portfolio of past work, express interest and an ability to engage and include communities with specific communities. Oh, I think I messed that up. Don't judge me, okay? Because I don't always edit my own work, but we'll clean that up. But express interest in the ability to engage and include communities and site-specific work. Our timeline, again, is flexible, and but the deadline is the same across the board, December 19th, 5 p.m. Let's keep scrolling. Ryan Runcie, as I mentioned, is your point of why is my name on here? Don't email me, y'all. It'll be 2 years before I email you back. No, I'm just kidding. I get a lot of emails, and so you may email me and I may defer it to another colleague to respond to you. But this is my email address, and my colleague Ryan Runcie will be managing this opportunity. And that is Ryan, RYAN .Runcie, RUNCIE at austintexas.gov. Happy to answer any questions you may have. I know I took 7 minutes to run us through that. But as we mentioned, some of the information is redundant because we're working on being consistent here. So thank you for your attention. Really appreciate your time. And again, I'll stop talking. No questions? Either this was really boring or I did a good job.
Yeah. How do we end? Hello?
Michelle, yes, we see you.
Yes. My partner here, Steve Archer, has a question.
Okay. Talking about the site specifically, second floor, it's a walkway. Is it sort of a glorified catwalk between one side of the building to the other side of the building?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, so, and the second part of the question is, the artwork is as much for the view on the first floor as people are doing whatever, the roller derby or whatever they're at, and they look up and they see the artwork. Is that sort of the second part of it?
The second part of it is, the artwork is very visible. It's in a pre-function area that is just outside of the main kind of ballroom, convention, expo room. And so, but it's very, very visible, and there's a safety railing that kind of flanks the other side of that catwalk.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay.
So thank you for the question.
Hi, the other question that we have is, what is the wall made of that it's going to be mounted on? What kind of restrictions will come with that wall composition?
The wall is currently drywall, but if it needs to be reinforced with something to, as a substrate for whatever the artist is intending to fabricate, then the artist would need to propose that. That would need to be a part of the artist's fabrication budget.
Okay, and wiring could go behind the wall as long as that's in our budget.
Absolutely. There's electrical all down the wall.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Good questions.
Hi there.
Hi, Shane.
I may have missed it. The question is about insurance. I guess it could also go for the other projects, but specifically to this one. Do we carry the insurance throughout the whole thing, or do y'all or the entity take that over? Is it the insurance of like getting hurt on the job, or does that extend through the life of the project? Over.
It's the so you'll need general commercial liability or general commercial liability insurance. And if you're, depending on what the proximity of where you are, you may need professional auto insurance as well.
Carried throughout the lifetime of the work?
Yes, the not the work, but the project while you're under contract with the city.
Okay, so after the project ends, I don't have to keep that insured.
No, sir.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I guess I had one question. And it kind of is for all the projects. If any of these get damaged, let's say in like 20 years or something, like 10 years, 5 years, like are we responsible to go and like fix that, or is that like
only to the extent that you allow us to pay you to come and fix it?
okay?
Yeah, we ask for a 1-year warranty.
Okay.
We ask for warranties for all of the materials that you're using. So whatever the manufacturer specifications, manufacturer warranties, we ask for all of that. So at the end of the project, you give us a maintenance manual and a plan. And at the conclusion of 1 year that it's been installed and the title has been transferred to us, we invite you back to do a site visit, like an inspection, to make sure that everything is intact and in substantial form of how you intended the artwork to live on in perpetuity in our collection. And then after that, you're basically off the hook. And so we intend for things to be on an annual review cycle or biannual review cycle. And if an instance occurs where who knows what can happen because strange things happen, where the artwork is damaged, then the artist of origin is the first point of contact. And then afterwards, we may defer to a consultant or a conservator.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just like, let's say in 20 years something happens. It's like, we definitely can go fix it, but it's like, are we on the hook for it for like ever?
No, definitely not. And we're not asking artists to do things for free either. We recognize your professional expertise and really want to let you know that we appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Are you
Yes,
sure? Okay, Shane.
yes, one final technical thing just on the RFQ.
Okay.
Is there any indemnification insofar as any kind of process to protest the results of said selection? Over.
Is there I mean, you can always protest a selection. I'm new with this program, so I don't know what that process is, but you can always protest if you don't agree with not being chosen based on evaluation criterion or qualifications. But that would be the only leverage you would have for a protest, is how you're evaluated based on what the information that we're requesting. But yes.
Okay, thank you, because sometimes I've had to waive that right in the past.
No, we're not asking you to there's nothing for you to sign here. We're not obligating you to do anything or to sacrifice or even to commit to anything. And so the application process and participating in the process is completely up to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Amruta? Amruta, I think you're muted if you wanted to speak. Uh-oh, we lost her. Anyone else?
Yeah, hi.
Oh, there
Sorry.
you are. No worries.
So no, this is just at the risk of sounding a little weird, but I'll be putting my details in the chat, in the group chat, and if any of the teams want a poet or someone who has a way with words to be on their team, just please feel free to contact me, because I graduated with the City of Art Austin Artist as a Career program, and I recently won an award in India for my poetry. So just saying that out loud. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amruta. I would like to invite you to maybe do some research for fabricators locally or regionally that may be working in materials that are interested to you and how you would like to present your words as a visual art form, because you may be surprised if there are other artists or fabricators, makers, even architects that would want to collaborate with you as the lead artist. And so I think a little of that is incumbent upon you. The budget is big enough, $400,000, for you to take the lead, but also hire someone or offer to subconsult or subcontract with someone to support your desire to do something of this scale.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for your
Of
words, and I will
course.
definitely look into it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, we are at 7:03, a little bit past the party. I haven't turned into a pumpkin yet, but I feel it coming. But I want to thank you all again for your time. You are the reason why we do this work, and all of the feedback and comments that you give us hold us accountable and help us to do this work better for you. So we definitely appreciate you. Other questions may come to you. Feel free to email everyone except for me. Just kidding. A little bit, I'm kidding. Mostly I'm kidding. Feel free, I'm very accessible. Feel free to email me and I will see you out and about if you're here in Texas. And I do travel a little bit, so maybe I'll bump elbows with those of you who are in other places. But do email us, pop into our virtual open office hours, ask us questions, share your qualifications that you're putting together so that we could be here to help and support you. Alex has dropped the link to the virtual open office hours in the chat. And yeah, let us know. We are here to support you and to help you in this process. So thank you again. I'll ask one more time. Any other questions? Okay, we appreciate you. Everyone have a good night. Thank you, team. I appreciate your support. I'll take care. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Amazing.
Constance.
Our
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.